Hello my friends, welcome to the Electric Viking. Fantastic to see so many new people subscribe within the last week. Numbers are really starting to increase and it's great to see more people part of the community commenting on the videos. Telling me your opinions and your thoughts on the cars, what's happening in the auto industry. There is some really interesting things going on right now. Seeing this shift, this dynamic change, it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out over the next decade, to see how much of the auto industry is disrupted. And I think probably most of it will be disrupted by the end of the decade. It's going to be a fascinating power play of this decade. Now, part of this whole game are these little car makers in China. One of those is called Leap. Now, Leap actually started their car company in 2015, but they didn't really get off the ground until 2018 when they did a joint venture with a state-owned Chinese automaker, FAW, and they forged a strategic partnership to jointly develop intelligent vehicle models. The agreement also involves the joint cooperation on R&D, manufacture, production, application of intelligent electric vehicle core parts, and the further research on the development of key basic technologies and the innovation of production measures. So really what's happening in China right now is obviously there's a lot of EV companies. A lot of them have done similar things to what Leap Motor have done, JVs with state-owned companies. Well, one of the reasons that state-owned companies do this is because they're aware that their businesses are not always the most efficient. As in the Western world, a lot of state-owned companies in China are less efficient than privately owned companies. Obviously, if you have to make something work based on your money, then you're more likely to stay up hard, work hard, actually make sure something works on the least amount of money profitable. But obviously, state-owned businesses, they don't run quite the same way. They're not as efficient. So these state-owned companies think, well, why don't we do a merger with a private business? Then we can get the best of both worlds. We have more capital. They have the drive to work hard, the entrepreneurial nature in their staff. Let's combine the two together. Basically, that's what happened with Leap Motor. In 2018, they announced that they're going to have 3 models. Those were the S01 sports car. To be honest, it's not really a sports car and it looks kind of weird. But anyway, moving on. Now, this is their bread and butter car right now. It's the T03. It's a small hatchback, a bit bigger than the Wuling Hongwan Mini, a bit more power. It's more like a normal hatchback, kind of like a Mitsubishi Mirage type vehicle. And their final model that they released recently and are about to sell within the next month or two in China is called the C11. Now, the C11 is worlds better than their other 2 models. It's in a totally different league. I'm going to get to that in a second. Now, the T03 hatchback was launched on May the 11th, 2020, priced at around about $10,000 US. Now, it's 3.6 meters long. Wuling Hongwan Mini is about 3 meters long, so you can see a bit of a difference there in terms of size. The BYD EA1 Dolphin is 4.1 meters long. This is 3.6. Wuling Hongwan Mini 3 meters. So there's your kind of reference point. Comes with a 36.5 kilowatt hour battery, so it has a range of 300 kilometers on the NEDC cycle. You're probably looking at maybe 240 kilometers of real world range. And sales for that model in their first month that it went on sale, which was June 2020, were 700. Gradually, they've gone up every month. And in the last month, in August, they sold 4,400 of this vehicle, which has been basically an increase almost every month. They've had a couple of months that went down, but in general, they've increased their sales every single month. Apparently, they have 7,000 pre-orders waiting. They're just having to rely on parts shortages, just like the rest of the industry. But let's move on to the car that may completely change this company, the C11. Now, the C11 has 544 horsepower and will cost just $31,000 US and come with a 90 kilowatt hour battery. 90 kilowatt hour battery. It has level 3 autonomous driving. It's built on the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8155 platform. So it is a smart car in a similar way to a Tesla is, similar way to Xpeng and NIO. And they use their own in-house developed chip which enables level 3 autonomous driving. Now, in combination with the Huawei chip, both chips together enable the use of ADAS, intelligent driving assistance. Now, what else do we know about the car? Well, Wikipedia says it's a 7-seat vehicle, but in the news articles I've seen, it's only 5 seats. And in the video that I saw online of a Chinese reviewer having a look at the vehicle, it was a 5-seat vehicle. So I'm pretty sure it's 5 seats. Now, what about the style? Personally, I think this vehicle looks better than a Porsche Macan, which is one of the cooler looking SUVs. Bigger, looks better. It's all electric. $31,000 has 520 horsepower. Just seems, honestly, too good to be true. A 90 kilowatt hour battery, $32,000, and it looks this good. Plus, if you look at the interior, when the reviewer was reviewing the car, he was touching surfaces of the interior and he noticed that they're actually made out of Napa leather. Just seems amazing. Now, it's available with 2 powertrains. The first is a single rear motor rear-wheel drive with 272 horsepower and 360 newton meters. And the second is a dual motor 4-wheel drive with 544 horsepower and 720 newton meters. Now, apparently the top speed is limited to 170 kilometers an hour, and the rear-wheel drive version does 0 to 62 miles an hour, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 7.9 seconds. The all-wheel drive version does it in 4.9 seconds. Now, what about range? Well, the rear-wheel drive version has a 76.6 kilowatt hour battery or a 90 kilowatt hour battery, giving the car a range of either 510 kilometers or 610 kilometers on the NEDC cycle. So you'd be looking at a real-world range of, say, probably 420 kilometers for the 76.6 kilowatt hour battery and 610 kilometers for the 90 kilowatt hour battery, and about 520 kilometers for the 90 kilowatt hour battery. Now, the 4-wheel drive version is mated to the 90 kilowatt hour battery and has a range of 550 kilometers. Now, in my opinion, this interior is one of the best of any car available on the market anywhere. I mean, it is the top 2% in terms of the design. It looks super clean, and whoever the designer was of the interior and exterior of this car, they should get a pay raise. They've done an incredible job, or somebody should poach them. Now, the interesting thing here is the triple screen setup. The screen on the left is the instrument panel with a 10.25 inch diameter. Now, the main touchscreen in the middle of the car is 12.8 inches, and the right touchscreen is for infotainment for the passenger, and it measures 10.25 inches. It's the same as the driver's screen, same size. Now, one cool feature that I really like about this car, and would be especially relevant in cities, especially in Chinese cities, but also in basically every city around the world, is that it comes with a PM 2.5 air purification system. Now, one little thing that I found interesting about this car, there is a tiny black pod on the A-pillar. That's a face recognition sensor similar to what you have on an iPhone. The owner or any driver can connect a profile with his or her Face ID, and this profile will remember all kinds of car and infotainment settings. So you can basically set the car up in multitude of ways to how you want it, and then as soon as it sees your face, it will change it to that. And of course, as soon as it sees another driver's settings, it will change everything back to those. So obviously some cars have this right now in terms of the seat position, but this goes way beyond that in terms of lots of other settings, whether you want it to be on AM radio station or, whatever that is, lots of different settings. Now, Leap set this up for video streaming. So the passenger can watch videos while the car's driving and basically just chill out. I think that's a cool idea. I mean, if you're a taxi driver, this would be pretty cool too. So what about the size? All right, it's 4.75 meters long, 4,750 millimeters, 1,905 millimeters wide, 1,650 millimeters high, and has a wheelbase of 2.9 meters. So it's about 4.75 meters long, very similar in size to a Tesla Model Y, but a bit bigger, a little bit bigger than the Model Y. And let's be frank and honest, I mean, as you guys know, I'm invested in Tesla stock, but let's be just blunt here. This looks way better than a Tesla Model Y. It looks like a premium. It almost looks like a Porsche to me. The funny thing is, right, normally companies design a concept car, like perfect example, Subaru. They design these concept cars that look amazing. And you see them and you think, wow, I want to own that car. That looks sensational. And then the real thing comes out and it just looks boring. It looks vanilla. It looks like their old model. It's just disappointing. This came out concept car came out in 2019. Looked pretty good. Then the real thing comes out, it looks really good. So they've gone and made the concept car, and then they've thought to themselves, no. How can we make this look even better? I love that about this company. Now, price for the base rear drive model is $24,700. $24,700, right? The top model with 544 horsepower is $31,000 US dollars. Exchange rate might be 32, 31, but anyway, around about 31,000 US dollars for the top model with 544 horsepower, 720 newton meters of torque, a 90 kilowatt hour battery, a luxurious interior, 3 screens, 2 10.25 inch screens, a middle screen that's 13 inches, level 3 autonomous driving, and all-wheel drive. I don't know of a car on the market that is better than this for the money. This thing will sell like crazy. Now, unfortunately, at this point in time, Leapmotor, as far as we know, have no plans for exporting the car. Of course, that eventually I think will change as they find that this car is successful in China. And maybe, we should write them a letter and just say, bring it here, bring it to the US, bring it to Australia, bring it to Europe. We want one of these for 31,000 US dollars. Because seriously, what is the direct competitor to this? This thing has more power, more torque than an Audi SQ5, which costs more than twice as much. As you can see, again, I'm in shock. How can the Chinese make cars like this and sell them for these prices? How can we possibly compete with this? I just don't know how anyone can compete with these kind of cars coming from China right now based on price and even on looks. They're doing so well in both of those areas. Staggering and a little bit scary. Thanks for watching the video. Looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye-bye.